Hello everyone, welcome to your weekly tech update at home. I'm your host Ray McNeil. Of course, this is a program that shows off the newest, coolest, and craziest tech stories from around the interwebs. And today, I thought since the rest of the world was broadcasting from their homes and giving you a glimpse of their life at home, that I might do the same. I've actually been broadcasting from home for quite a few years now, but I've tried to make it as professional as possible with my green screen. And this time, I thought I'd drop the veil of the green screen and show off some of the ugliness that I've been hiding behind me. So you can enjoy, and we can continue on with the show. Coming up on the program today, we're talking Fraggle Rock. They have a brand new mini-series that's making a surprise debut on Apple TV+. Ford's electric Mustang dragster looks awesome and delivers over 1,400 horsepower. And we'll wrap up the program with this week's Moment of Joy. That and a whole lot more coming up on today's edition of your weekly tech update next. As nostalgia continues its reign, Apple TV Plus has just launched the very first episode of the Fraggle Rock revival. Fraggle Rock Rock On brings the cave-dwelling Muppets of the 80s to the modern age in a series of mini episodes that focuses on social distancing. The characters used to travel freely throughout Fraggle Rock, the titular cave system, but the passageways have closed off. The Fraggles now have to find creative ways to interact and make music. Both new and classic songs will be a part of the show. That's according to Deadline. The first minisode involves the Fraggles receiving new doozer tunes, which allow them to communicate and play a new song. The show's production was a quick turnaround. Social distancing has been in place for less than a few months. Part of the reason the production crew was able to create the show so quickly, however, is because, well, they were all stuck at home too. And because it was all shot on iPhones and was produced in the homes of the crew and artists throughout the US. The Jim Henson Company, the same producer of the original show, is making Fraggle Rock Rock On. So viewers can expect a certain level of quality and fan service when the show form episodes air each Tuesday. Fraggle Rock isn't exactly a deep cut, but it's not universally well known either. Whether or not Apple TV subscribers at large will watch the show remains to be seen, but 80s babies will likely be curious to revisit the caves and creatures, and of course children who have never heard of Fraggle Rock may even be amused by the silly characters and catchy tunes. I can tell you for sure that I'm going to show my 8-year-old Fraggle Rock. She actually loved the original. It was one of the DVDs we had in the car when we used to go on our big drives, so I'm sure she's going to love this one as well. ESPN has announced plans to broadcast the upcoming Madden NFL 20 Championship Series on ESPN2. The program will include live competition gaming and a docu-series called Road to Madden Bowl. On Thursday, ESPN also announced it will begin televising live regular season and playoff games from MLB The Show Players League across ESPN and ESPN2. A best-of-5 championship series will air on May 3rd on ESPN. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but as a video game geek, it is fascinating to see in real time this emergence of esports into the regular sports arenas. It's amazing that we're finally getting these broadcasts on ESPN and all the big sports broadcasters showing what, well, I've been doing for years on my home console. For years now, researchers have been trying to bring improved haptics to virtual reality experiences. Speaking of gaming, we've seen haptic suits from companies like B Haptics and Tesla, as well as VR boots, gloves, and other handheld devices. Now, a team of researchers from Carnegie Mellon University is ready to introduce a new approach. Their wearable device connects users' hands to their shoulders via spring-loaded cables. It's actually pretty cool. The researchers claim that the product Wirality can better simulate objects in VR. The device sits on users' shoulders and the spring-loaded cables attached to each fingertip and a few points of the hand. Gears inside Wirality lock to create resistance, and the design takes advantage of the user's upper body mass to simulate heavy and fixed objects. Wirality could make flat and curved VR surfaces like walls and railings much more lifelike. It could also allow users to interact with touchscreens and buttons in ways that haptic systems with only vibrational motors don't allow. In a paper, the research team explained the design and how they actually kept Wirality lightweight, low power, and low cost. They believe that it could cost less than $50 in volume production. And while the prototype is 273 grams in total, only 11 grams are worn on the hands, making it lighter than, for instance, the HTC Vive controller, which weighs 203 grams. And believe me, when you're in game, you can definitely feel that weight. I've been looking for ways to be more immersed into the VR world, and I definitely want some sort of haptic feedback. That's something that we've never seen before, and this might be the ticket. In other news, Facebook is launching its Messenger app for kids in 70 new countries. Well, they actually did it a few days ago. The company has announced a help page on Facebook's website listing Brazil, India, Japan, and New Zealand among the countries where the kid-focused messaging service is now available. Facebook also announced a number of tweaks it's making to how the app works. Facebook has taken its time to roll out Messenger Kids to new markets since its original US launch back in 2017 and expansion into Canada and Peru that happened back in 2018. Facebook says that it's launching more countries as children around the world are having to learn remotely while schools remain closed due to this pandemic. Facebook is also tweaking how children and their parents can use the service. Parents can now opt in to letting their children control their own friends' request rather than having to manage every request on their behalf. However, you still will be able to receive notifications about the Messenger friends that your children are making, and of course can override any connections if you wish. Groups are also changing. Parents will soon be able to approve an adult, such as a teacher, coach, or another parent, to manage a group chat with their children in it. Finally, parents will also be able to opt in to make their kids' names and profile photos visible to friends of friends in the US, Canada, and Latin America. Facebook's child-focused service has been controversial in the past. Last year, an implementation error allowed children to create group chats with people that parents hadn't approved. The oversight generated a congressional backlash, with senators pushing Facebook to take a more proactive approach to privacy and security. Messenger Kids will start rolling out in the new markets starting today. Meanwhile, the new friend request and group functionality will be available in the US starting today, with international rollout to follow sometime soon. In other news today, we're talking the Mustang Mach-E crossover. It isn't available to customers just yet, but Ford is showing off another example of what an electric Mustang coupe could be like with this prototype racer. The Mustang Cobra Jet 1400 is its first factory-built dragster prototype with an all-electric powertrain that the company said is capable of over 1,400 horsepower and 1,100 foot-pounds of torque. That should be enough to make it worthy of a historic nameplate for factory-built racers. That's even more powerful than the Mustang lithium electric project car that appeared last year, and more than Chevrolet's eCopo Camaro prototype. There aren't many specifications listed on the components, but we'll probably learn more before it appears in drag racing events later this year. And it made an appearance as well, if you want to check it out, this past weekend on Motor Trend's on-demand hard sell series.